Coming up today, the rotation into small caps continues. AI bubble fears still aplenty. Where Morgan Stanley says to invest. Elon Musk confirms a SpaceX IPO. Nvidia mentions rich tech robotic. The latest developments in crypto. And the once in a lifetime opportunity right under our noses. We're having fun out here, guys. Let's go. Never a dull moment in financial market. Getting quite an interesting rotation out there today. Mag 7, all largely been sold off on the back of Oracle's earnings last night. I'll get into that in a minute. But we did see a continued rotation into other sectors, with once again small mid caps leading the charge. Russell 2000 joined a broad-based rally as the rotation into small caps continued. The Russell up 1.17% today, significantly outperforming the S&P again, only up 0.2%, and the Nasdaq Qs actually finished lower, which is all playing out beautifully, like I've been saying of late. And does anybody remember this day here, the 20th of November? I sure do. Which is turning out to be one of the greatest gotchas of all time. See that in my vol heat map indicator, really lighting up the last couple of weeks, showing a strong reversal in the market after we got that momentum upward thrust on the 21st. Massive bearish to bullish flip, really caught a lot of people by surprise. A lot of trolls on here were literally screaming at me that it's all over. I was getting a lot of LOLs thrown at me in the comments, a classic sign of a troll, along with all the fake gurus on here sounding the alarm bells too. But how are they all doing now? Making lots of money? I don't think so, right? But like I told you guys, I was buying the dip, so stick with me today and I'll give you an update on my small cap stock picks portfolio, which just hit another brand new all-time high today. And even though I've got the largest companies selling off, the Nasdaq pulling back, we didn't get a spike in volatility, which is another good sign for the broader market. And this is why I always pay close attention to volatility pricing. It can often lead sharp corrections and declines in the market. It's good to see the VIX crush pretty hard today after starting the day higher, finished lower than yesterday's lows, even though big tech stocks pulled back, and we've seen a big vol crush in the VIX EQ index. The S&P 500 constituent volatility index, showing the volatility for an average stock, which really spiked there a few weeks back. So volatility in most stocks coming down after being quite elevated is a good sign. And another really good sign we got today was a breakout in the amount of stocks on the New York Stock Exchange hitting a new 52-week high today, 187. That's the highest print we've had all year. You'd have to go back to last year to get a similar print. So that's a really good sign. Showing broadening market breadth, which is always what you want to see in a healthy bull market. More and more stocks breaking out. But it's not just stocks. We've got another good rip and a few commodities today, with silver leading the chart. Really pushing higher here, and a good sign to see silver miners doing even better than the underlying commodity. That means we're really seeing a bullish risk-on move in the silver space. And the spread between silver and gold continues to motor ahead, being a really strong breakout this last month. Silver significantly outperforming gold, as it has done pretty much all year. And the fear and greed index finally just got back into neutral territory. It's been about 2 months since we've been there, stuck in the fear and extreme fear zone for quite a while now. Like I said last week, I think the bears are finally capitulating, like we can see in the latest II Investor Sentiment Survey. Once again, coming in really bullish today, similar to last week, and something we really haven't seen for a while. Again, another sign, a lot of bears are starting to throw in the towel, and that is historically a good sign for things to come, especially after this latest print we got today. 2 straight weeks with the bullish readings above 44%, the first time that's occurred in over a year. Looking forward 6 months, 9 months, 12 months later, the market's higher 100% of the time with well above average return. Basically showing a lot of people have been bearish for a while, then they eventually give in, which can kind of open the floodgate for more to come. But don't be fooled, there's still plenty on the sidelines, not fully invested. That's why I think there's a potential for a lot of chasing, even going into year end. Fund managers looking to jump on board for their end of quarter, end of year reports. But I expect this narrative to continue into next year, the lost decade. Plenty of investors with tunnel vision just off the S&P 500 index relative valuation level, which we can see just how sensitive and jittery the market can be on the back of that narrative. And what's really been driving this bull market thus far, the AI boom. So a big tech giant last night report Oracle, and even though they well and truly beat on earnings expectations, they delivered a slight miss on revenue, posting $16.06 billion compared to $16.21 billion expected by the market, which was apparently enough for the stock to sell off 14% when it opened for trading this morning, even though cloud sales rose 34% from the previous quarter, and they still think they've got over $500 billion in future order visibility. But any slight miss just quickly revives one of the most popular topics in finance this year, the AI bubble. But to my eye, the technical action here today, like I said, on the back of a monster EPS beat, but a slight revenue miss, increasing their capex a little bit. Looks like the market largely bought the dip right off the open. And we can see that going down to a 5-minute chart. Stock was selling off going into the open, did a quick dip. Looks like some big money came in there, gobbled it up, then it was up until the right into the close. Similar deal with Nvidia. Sold off a bit there to start the day, but it looks like the dip was bought into the close. Stock's still trying to find support around 180 here. But the cool thing about investing is you don't have to put your whole portfolio in the S&P 500 nor just the largest tech stock. There's literally thousands of stocks and ETFs out there you can use to diversify your wealth. And I agree with Morgan Stanley and their research piece today. 4 reasons the economy is about to boom. 3 areas of the market for investors to cash in. They came out with reasons like we're seeing a rebound in earnings, along with the ISM manufacturing PMI starting to curl up, which has been actually depressed for a couple of years. And so we could be on the cusp of a rebound in manufacturing as well. And going forward for America, that'll be advanced manufacturing going head to head with China, as tariffs are starting to have their intended impact with the US trade deficit falling to a 5-year low, which is a really good thing for the American economy. A shrinking trade gap means America is importing less and producing more at home, which strengthens domestic industries, supports high quality jobs, and it reflects US manufacturers regaining competitiveness, supply chains shifting back onshore, and American companies winning back market share that has been leaking overseas for decades. But the good thing is when the deficit also narrows, it reduces America's dependence on foreign products, making the economy more resilient to geopolitical shocks, shipping disruptions, or commodity squeezes. Basically, more of what America consumes is being made in America, and that is a tangible boost to growth and employment, improving the country's financial footing by lowering the amount of foreign capital the US needs to borrow to fund its consumption. So when you combine rising domestic production, stronger US industries, reduced exposure to global risk, and a more self-reliant financial position, it's basically a structural win country. And so we could see more growth in manufacturing next year. Also, traditionally, the softness in the labor market was seen as a bad thing for the economy, but I think that's starting to flip, and economics are being rewritten ever since GPT was launched. We've seen the amount of job openings and job growth really come off, and that normally correlated with the stock market pretty much all the time, but we've got this massive divergence. And so basically the less people companies need to sell their products and services, the more money they can make, and we could just be in the very early days of this trend as well. Also ticking up the revenue beat rate, which is running 2 times the historical run rate. Top line pricing power is firming. And fourth, looser financial condition, lower interest rate. The Fed going to start increasing their balance sheet again. And so I agree with Morgan Stanley. That is all very bullish small cap stock, especially as they start to get back to good earnings growth, which is set to accelerate even further next year, with small caps quarterly EPS growth here in the dark blue going to start soon taking over large cap EPS growth. And again, along with mid caps that are set to uptrend next year and into 2027, especially with the help of lower rates and, like I said, rising domestic production. All good for US small cap stocks, and we're actually seeing those upcoming fundamentals starting to be priced in the market with the price action, the broadening of the rally, Russell 2000 breaking out to new all-time highs, and actually leading today were small cap growth stocks, up 1.3%. Looking at the ETF here, again breaking out brand new all-time highs. And in addition to small caps, we could also see a good rally in space-related stocks next year, as there's been speculation lately the world's largest private company, SpaceX, could go public next year at potentially a $1.5 trillion valuation, easily making it the largest IPO ever. And not too long ago, just got reports that Elon Musk confirming they are looking to IPO SpaceX next year. Something I've been talking about on this channel ever since I started it 3 years ago. And I, for one, am excited to get in on this, make it a long-term position, pretty much got unlimited potential. It's really the company that's going to make humans a multi-planetary species. Within a few years, you can expect them to take Tesla Optimus humanoid bots to Mars, build bases there. And this is all funded by their very profitable Starlink business. They've already been cash flow positive for several years, offering internet to all corners of the world. And as many of you know, I've already been indirectly invested into SpaceX in a few ways. One, Alphabet Google actually own 8% of SpaceX. Stock's the best performing mega cap tech this year. And also an ETF I shared with you guys earlier this year, the Entrepreneur Shares Private Public Crossover ETF. With their largest position in private shares of SpaceX, looks like some big money's trying to get in here today on this record volume bar. Because once SpaceX goes public, this ETF will hold a position in SpaceX. It just got in at a much cheaper valuation than what it's highly likely to come onto the market at, always attracting a premium, especially in a roaring bull market like we could have next year. And so no surprise to see space stock light up today on the back of this news. Like I've been saying, expect them to rally going into this IPO, not only just the announcement we've got, but the actual IPO next year. Rocket Lab, which a lot of people call a mini SpaceX company, started in New Zealand. They offer a really low-cost way to get payloads up into space. Stock ripping up over 10% today. Big bounce back in AST Space Mobile. And a few others out there today, including one stock me and my Stock Picks members having our portfolios, Planet Labs, coming through with a monster beat on the cusp of going cash flow positive. Nice beat there on revenue as well. We're now up 142% on this position since we got in back in early July. And along with some other picks in our portfolio, really starting to bounce back of late, including Idaho Strategic Resources, having a good day there today. That's helped my stock picks portfolio just hit a brand new all-time high today, up 3.5% just on the day alone, with the equity curve taking out those highs from mid-October. And so congrats to all those that bought the dip in mid-late November. Like I said back then, it was a great opportunity to get in, and hence why I offered a deal to do so. And so the portfolio up 55% in time weighted return since last year, as I buy a new stock every Monday, has been achieved with the Russell 2000 index really lagging behind the market. And honestly think this account could hit $100,000 next year, but it's still not too late to get on board, as I strongly believe I'm just getting started with this portfolio. It's still early days, and what lays ahead for small caps could be a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. It's honestly the best setup we've seen in years, not just going into 2026, but for the rest of this decade, given the huge divergence between small caps and large caps at a time of a record valuation discount. Supercharged earnings growth next year, in addition to loose credit conditions, is the perfect recipe for small caps to outperform. And my strategy is 100% dialed in to benefit from this. Buying a new small cap stock every week, cutting losses, running winners, whilst always keeping a diversified portfolio across a dozen plus growth themes throughout the market. And so if you don't want to keep watching all of this from the sidelines, or you're sick of following fake gurus on here that don't even trade themselves, then join our community of real traders making real profits from this boom in small cap stocks by joining my stock pick service today, using promo code BOOM26 at checkout to lock in your 26% discount and get a front row seat to the best show in town, as I'm super pumped for what next year holds in store for us. And just looking at another one of my favorite small cap stocks, Rich Tech Robotics, also having a great day, up 12% today, coming back with some volume here, as Nvidia themselves just posted on their X today, making special mention of Rich Tech Robotics and how their latest product DEX is ready for the factory floor. A mobile humanoid robot powered by Nvidia's Jetson AGX Thor and trained in Isaac Sim to handle light to medium industrial tasks that can be programmed to do a lot of different things that otherwise would have needed a human. And so that's really good validation coming from the world's largest company, leader of the AI boom, posting on their X and also on their company blog as well, referencing Rich Tech Robotics, one of their clients and partners in their robotics division, which they're really focusing on dialing up next year as well. Jensen Huang said, AI and robotics are the two biggest themes of all our lifetime that he's heavily investing in. And like I've been saying, physical AI is where it's going next. With the full backing of the US federal government, news just hitting the wires now, Trump signing an executive order for a single national AI regulation framework, limiting the power of state, which has been a contentious issue for the large AI company. Worried about leaders from states like California and New York and their overreaching regulation, which could represent a real roadblock and setback for the industry. So mega cap tech along with the administration are trying to all join hands together for everybody's benefit and to better win this race with China. Also a big theme in the AI world of late has really been Alphabet Google taking the charge. Now with the best scoring chatbots and image generation with Nano Banana. It's got GPT scrambling to try and stay up there, coming out with a new version, GPT 5.2, which improves in areas like spreadsheet building, coding, and complex project handling. After Google's Gemini saw monthly active users increase by over 30% just between August and November, while GPT's users only grew by 5%. Google and Gemini have made a massive comeback in the second half of this year, and that's been reflected in the stock price as well. But OpenAI still will be one of the hottest IPOs. They could come onto the market next year as well, with a pipeline of IPOs setting to heat up. A lot of investment banks saying it could be one of their biggest years. In mergers and acquisitions as well, still plenty of big companies partnering with OpenAI. Disney making a $1 billion investment. Saying Sora and GPT image users will also be able to make AI content with Disney's copyrighted characters. I don't think it's very likely in the next year or two, and Elon's been talking about this as well, there will be watchable movies completely made with AI. Maybe even licensing some actors without them even needing to act. A movie with Brad Pitt that he's just been paid a license fee but doesn't actually do the acting. As again, we've seen huge advancements in video generation from AI this year. It's really been growing leaps and bounds. Along with Google's AI unit DeepMind, which I would say was one of the best acquisitions in history made a few years back, announcing its first automated research lab in the UK. The lab will use AI and robotics to run experiments. And that's another trend we're going to see. Like a lot of tech companies already talking about, AI is expanding itself. AI writing more AI code, and I think we're also on the cusp of big medical and biotechnology breakthrough being discovered by AI as we get closer and closer to artificial general intelligence when AI can do everything a human can do and more. I think AI will also use crypto transaction, one AI bot talking to another AI bot, entering transactions on the blockchain. And I think the big banks are pretty much all embracing it now because they don't really have a choice. They don't want to be left behind. Bank of America just starting to roll out some Bitcoin-backed credit offering, which we're starting to see crypto being used as collateral, not just the rails to transact on. We had Jamie Dimon, CEO of JP Morgan, saying, "We move trillions of dollars a day on blockchain. It's real, it's faster, it's cheaper." As he too has totally flipped his stance on crypto because he pretty much has to. It's undeniable. With him also saying they're working on creating a stable coin. So you got the US government and basically all of Wall Street saying they're moving on chain. It's happening right underneath our noses. As they're all on the same page, including for the first time in a long time, a really pro-business, bullish SEC chair also saying today US financial markets are moving on chain. They're prioritizing innovation and embracing new technologies, focusing on deregulation instead of creating more red tape. And just looking at the price action of Bitcoin, still trying to form a bottom here. We haven't yet closed above the 50-day VWAP to really confirm a change in the short-term trend. We're still building this really good bullish divergence. Price action does look constructive, but we really need that big green thrust candle of a day to give us that kind of definitive bottom. Same with Ethereum as well. Constructive signs, but it's still just sitting below its 200-day moving average here, around 35.50. We get a good clean break above that. I think it'll be safe to say that we did see the low back in mid-late November there, which wouldn't be all that surprising on peak elevated fear at the time as well. And just wrapping it up, looking at bond yields, they did actually fall a little further here today. 2-year getting down to 353. Along with the dollar ticking down, that's also a good tailwind for stocks. But the real winners were silver, just charging higher here. Nice bounce back in uranium as well. But the leading sector of the stock market today, small cap growth stocks. With the Russell 2000 still climbing a little bit after hours as I speak, even though the NASDAQ is still actually selling off a little bit after hours as I speak as well. Like I've been saying, this is all shaping up really well for small caps next year. The Santa Claus rally may have already started in them. And if you don't want to miss out on that, then click the link below this video, head on over to my site, clickcapital.io, and use promo code BOOM26 at checkout and secure your spot today. Otherwise, thanks very much for watching. My name's Jared, and I'll be back here again this time tomorrow. Cheers.